Okay, I'm live. Good morning, StreamYard, YouTube. I only got up to get my little coffee, and of course, Silky took my seat. And Silky is not my cat. We're not, you're not my cat. We're just friends. You just get snacks here. Anyway, I want to apologize, and I'm trying to move this cat. All right, say bye-bye. Gotta go somewhere else. There's your whole house, a whole cat house for you, a whole kingdom cat house. Go play in it. Yeah, yesterday I made a big mistake. I read from the book of Judges when I was supposed to be on Joshua. I didn't catch it. No one caught it. Or I'm the type of nerd that would have caught it. And I cannot do that. I must, so I am here today in ganja hair, no jewelry. Um, Again, I guess I'm the idiot today because, I came with the wrong energy, but praise God. I'm going to do Joshua 1, stay focused. And again, I'm a lady with an idea to build a park. So I can't do my music, but I can do my emotional support plushie that does have generational hairpiece energy. I did like that read from Jay Wilson, and quite frankly, he's a useful idiot. He's still an idiot because no one would do what he and Vivian and that little dude. I'm gonna tell you about that little dude, that little smart show dude. He told that story about his grandmother, and every time he sees a couch and a door in a certain position, he thinks of his grandmother and how he has to get past her without getting knocked out because for whatever reason, his grandmother felt the need to just beat on him. And I feel like I got his grandma's energy for him. You know what I'm talking about. But enough of that. I'm a lady that wants to build a park, split the profits evenly, do business openly, honestly, and inclusive. Do it to form a more perfect union. And of course, to beat down this low IQ white supremacist system that is stealing kids. These are child predators. I cannot wait. Okay, let me get into the word. If I get into the word, I knew yesterday I was off. I could feel I was off. Joshua 1, here we go. Good morning. Put this word on the screen and do it properly. We are in order. His order. God's command to Joshua. Moses was a servant of the Lord. Joshua, son of Nun, was Moses' assistant. After Moses died, the Lord said to Joshua, "My servant Moses is dead. Now you and all these people go across the Jordan River. Go into the land I am giving to the people of Israel. I promised Moses I would give you this land. So I will give you every place you go in the land. And all the land from the desert in the south to Lebanon in the north will be yours. All the land from the great river, the Euphrates, in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west will be yours. This includes the land of the Hittites, just as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. No one will be able to stop you all your life. I will not leave you. I will never leave you alone. Joshua, be strong and brave. You must lead these people so they can take their land. This is the land I promised their fathers I would give them. Be strong and brave. Be sure to obey all the teachings my servant Moses gave you. If you follow them exactly, you will be successful in everything you do. Always remember what is written in the book of the teachings. Study it day and night. Then you will be sure to obey everything that is written there. If you do this, you will be wise and successful in everything. Remember that I commanded you to be strong and brave, so don't be afraid. The Lord your God will be with you everywhere you go. Joshua's orders to the people. Joshua chapter 1, verse 10. So Joshua gave orders to the officers of the people. He said, "Go through the camp and tell the people, get your supplies ready. 3 days from now, you will cross the Jordan River. You will go and take the land the Lord your God is giving you." Then Joshua spoke to the people of Reuben, Gad, and the eastern half tribe of Manasseh. Joshua said, "Remember what Moses, the servant of the Lord, told you. He said, 'The Lord your God will give you rest.' And he said, 'The Lord would give you this land.' Now the Lord has given you this land east of the Jordan River. Your wives, your children, and your animals may stay here. But your fighting men must dress for war and cross the Jordan River ahead of your brothers. You must help your brothers. The Lord has given you a place to rest. He will do the same for your brothers. But you must help them until they take the land. This is the land the Lord your God is giving them. Then you may return to your own land east of the Jordan River. That is the land that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you." Then the people answered Joshua, "Anything you command us to do, we will do. Any place you send us, we will go. Just as we fully obeyed Moses, we will obey you. We ask only that the Lord your God be with you just as he was with Moses. Then, if anyone refuses to obey your commands or turns against you, he will be put to death. Just be strong and brave." Joshua chapter 2. Spies sent to Jericho. Joshua, son of Nun, secretly sent out 2 spies from Acacia. Joshua said to them, "Go and look at the land. Look closely at the city of Jericho." So the men went to Jericho. They went to the house of a prostitute and stayed there. This woman's name was Rahab. Someone told the king of Jericho, "Some men from Israel have come here tonight. They are spying out the land." So the king of Jericho sent this message to Rahab: "Bring out the men who came to you and entered your house. They have come to spy out our whole land." Now the woman had hidden the 2 men. She said, "They did come here, but I didn't know where they came from. In the evening, when it was time to close the city gate, they left. I don't know where they went. Go quickly, maybe you can catch them." But the woman had taken the men up to the roof. She had hidden them there under stalks of flax. She had spread the flax out there to dry. So the king's men went out looking for the spies from Israel. They went to the places where people crossed the Jordan River. The city gate was closed just after the king's men left the city. The spies were ready to sleep for the night. So Rahab went to the roof and talked to them. She said, "I know the Lord has given this land to your people. You frighten us very much. Everyone living in this land is terribly afraid of you. We are afraid because we have heard how the Lord helped you. We heard how he dried up the Red Sea when you came out of Egypt. We heard how you destroyed Sihon and Og. They were the 2 Amorite kings who lived east of the Jordan. When we heard this, we became very frightened. Now our men are afraid to fight you. This is because the Lord your God rules the heavens above and the earth below. So now make me a promise before the Lord. Promise. Promise that you will show kindness to my family just as I showed you kindness. Give me some proof that you will do this. Promise me you will allow my family to live. Save my father, mother, brothers, sisters, and all of their families from death. The men agreed. They said, we will trade our lives for your lives. Don't tell anyone what we are doing. When the Lord gives us our land, we will be kind to you. You may trust us. The house Rahab lived in was built on the city wall. So she used a rope to let the men down through a window. She said to them, go into the hills. The king's men will not find you there. Hide there for 3 days. After the king's men return, you may go on your way. The men said to her, you must do as we say. If not, we cannot be responsible for keeping our promise. You are using a red rope to help us escape. When we return to this land, you must tie it in the window through which you let us down. Bring your father, mother, brothers, and all your family into your house. We can keep everyone safe who stays in this house. If anyone in your house is hurt, we will be responsible. If anyone goes out of your house and is killed, it is his own fault. We cannot be responsible for him. But you must not tell anyone about this agreement. If you do, we are free from it. Rahab answered, I agree to this. So she sent them away and they left. Then she tied the red rope in the window. The men left and went into the hills. There they stayed for 3 days. The king's men looked for them all along the road, but after 3 days, the king's men returned to the city without finding them. Then the 2 men started back to Joshua. They left the hills and crossed the river. They went to Joshua, son of Nun, and told him everything that had happened to them. They said to Joshua, the Lord surely has given us all of the land. All the people in that land are terribly afraid of us. Joshua chapter 3, crossing the Jordan. Early the next morning, Joshua and all the people of Israel left Acacia. They traveled to the Jordan River and camped there before crossing it. After 3 days, the officers went through the camp. They gave orders to the people. They said, you will see the priests and Levites carrying the Ark of the Covenant with the Lord your God. Then you should leave where you are and follow it. That way you will know which way to go. You have never traveled this way before, but do not follow too closely. Stay about 1,000 yards behind the Ark of the Covenant. Then Joshua told the people, make yourselves holy for the Lord. Tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Joshua said to the priests, take the Ark of the Covenant, cross over the river ahead of the people. So the priests lifted the Ark of the Covenant and carried it ahead of the people. Then the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to make you a great man to all the Israelites. So the people will know I am with you just as I was with Moses. The priests will carry the Ark of the Covenant. Tell them this: go to the edge of the Jordan River and stand in the water. Then Joshua said to the people of Israel, come here, listen to the words of the Lord your God. Here is proof that the living God is with you. Here is proof that he will drive out the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and the Jebusites. This is the proof. The ark of the covenant will go ahead of you into the Jordan River. It is the agreement with the Lord of the whole world. Now choose 12 men from among you. Choose one from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. The priest will carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord, the master of the whole world. They will carry it into the Jordan ahead of you. When they enter the water, the river will stop flowing. The water will be stopped. It will stand up in a heap as if a dam were there. So the priest carried the ark of the covenant, and the people left the place where they had camped. Then they started across the Jordan River. During harvest, the Jordan is flooded, so the river was at its fullest. The priests who were carrying the ark of the covenant came to the edge of the river, and they stepped into the water. Just at that moment, the water stopped flowing. It stood up in a heap a great distance away at Adam. This is a town near Zarethan. The water flowing down to the Sea of Arabah, the Dead Sea, was completely cut off. So the people crossed the river near Jericho. The ground there became dry. The priests carried the ark of the covenant with the Lord to the middle of the river and stopped. They waited there while all the people of Israel walked across. They crossed the Jordan River on dry land. Joshua chapter 4, rocks to remind the people. All the people finished crossing the Jordan. Then the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people. Choose one from each tribe. Tell the men to get 12 large rocks from the middle of the river. Take them from where the priest stood. Carry the rocks and put them down where you stay tonight. So Joshua chose one man from each tribe. Then he called the 12 men together. He said to them, go out into the river where the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God is. Each of you should find one large rock. There will be one rock for each tribe of Israel. Carry the rock on your shoulder. They will be a sign among you. In the future, your children will ask you, what do these rocks mean? Tell them the Lord stopped the water from flowing in the Jordan. When the ark of the covenant with the Lord crossed the river, the water was stopped. These rocks will help the Israelites remember this forever. So the Israelites obeyed Joshua. They carried 12 rocks from the middle of the Jordan River. There was one rock for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. They did this the way the Lord had commanded Joshua. They carried the rocks with them, and they put them down where they made their camp. Joshua also put 12 rocks in the middle of the Jordan River. He put them where the priests had stood while carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord. These rocks are still there today. The Lord had commanded Joshua to tell the people what to do. It was what Moses had said Joshua must do. So the priest carrying the Ark of the Covenant continued standing in the middle of the river until everything was done. And the people hurried across the river. The people finished crossing the river. Then the priest carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord to the other side. As they carried it, the people watched. The men from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the eastern half tribe of Manasseh obeyed what Moses had told them. They were prepared for war, so they crossed the river ahead of the other people. About 40,000 soldiers were prepared for war. They passed before the Lord as they marched across the river. Then they went toward the plains of Jericho to go to war. That day, the Lord made Joshua a great man to all the Israelites. They respected Joshua all his life, just as they had respected Moses. Then the Lord spoke to Joshua. He said, "Command the priests to bring the Ark of the Covenant out of the river." So Joshua commanded the priests, "Come up out of the Jordan." So the priests carried the Ark of the Covenant with the Lord out of the river. As soon as their feet touched dry land, the water began flowing again. The river again overflowed its banks. It was just as it had been before they crossed. The people crossed the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month. They camped at Gilgal, east of Jericho. They carried with them the 12 rocks taken from the Jordan. And Joshua set them up at Gilgal. Then he spoke to the Israelites. He said, "In the future, your children will ask you, 'What do these rocks mean?' Tell them Israel crossed the Jordan River on dry land. The Lord your God caused the water to stop flowing. The river was dry until the people finished crossing it. The Lord did the same thing for us at the Jordan that he did for the people at the Red Sea. Remember that he stopped the water at the Red Sea so we could cross. The Lord did this so all people would know he has great power. Then they will always respect the Lord your God." Joshua chapter 5. So the Lord dried up the Jordan River until the Israelites had crossed it. Now all the kings of the Amorites west of the Jordan heard about it, and the Canaanite kings living by the Mediterranean Sea heard about it. They were very scared. After that, they were too afraid to face the Israelites. The Israelites are circumcised. Joshua chapter 5, verse 2. At that time, the Lord spoke to Joshua. He said, "Make knives from flint stones. Circumcise the Israelites again." So Joshua made knives from flint stones. Then he circumcised the Israelites at Gibeath Hayaroth. This is why Joshua circumcised the men. After the Israelites left Egypt, all the men old enough to serve in the army died. They died in the desert on the way out of Egypt. The men who had come out of Egypt had been circumcised, but many were born in the desert on the trip from Egypt. They had not been circumcised. The Israelites had moved about in the desert for 40 years. During that time, all the fighting men who had left Egypt had died. This was because they had not obeyed the Lord. So the Lord swore they would not see the land. This was the land he had promised their ancestors to give them. It was a land where much food grows. So their sons took their places. But none of the sons born on the trip from Egypt had been circumcised. So Joshua circumcised them. After all the Israelites had been circumcised, they stayed in camp until they were healed. Then the Lord said to Joshua, as slaves in Egypt, you were ashamed. But today I have removed that shame. So Joshua named that place Gilgal, and it is still named Gilgal today. The people of Israel were still camped at Gilgal on the plains of Jericho. It was there on the evening of the 14th day of the month they celebrated the Passover feast. The next day after the Passover, the people ate some of the food grown on that land, bread made without yeast and roasted grain. The day they ate this food, the manna stopped coming. The Israelites no longer got the manna from heaven. They ate the food grown in the land of Canaan that year. Joshua was near Jericho. He looked up and saw a man standing in front of him. The man had a sword in his hand. Joshua went to him and asked, "Are you a friend or an enemy?" The man answered, "I am neither one. I have come as the commander of the Lord's army." Then Joshua bowed face down on the ground. He asked, "Does my master have a command for me, his servant?" The commander of the Lord's army answered, "Take off your sandals. The place where you are standing is holy." So Joshua did. Chat time. Chat time. 10,000 citizens invest. 10,000 citizens invest $1,000 on our public market date. We purchase land. We build parks. We split the profits evenly. We do business openly, honestly, and inclusive. We do this to make a lot of godly money, increase tourism, have a lot of fun, give God his praise, build up communities. And we're going to get this white supremacist, evil white supremacist system, which is demonic, we're going to get it in check. Because God is good. Back to the word. Give me strength and power. Joshua chapter 6. The fall of Jericho. Now the people of Jericho were afraid because the Israelites were near. So they closed the city gates and guarded them. No one went into the city and no one came out. Then the Lord spoke to Joshua. He said, "Look, I have given you Jericho, its king, and all its fighting men. March around the city with your army one time every day. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets made from horns of sheep. Tell them to march in front of the Ark of the Covenant. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times. On that day, tell the priests to blow the trumpets as they march. They will make one long blast on the trumpets. When you hear that sound, have all the people give a loud shout. Then the walls of the city will fall, and the people will go straight into the city." So Joshua, son of Nun, called the priests together. He said to them, "Carry the ark of the covenant with the Lord. Tell 7 priests to carry trumpets and march in front of it." Then Joshua ordered the people, "Now go, march around the city. The soldiers with weapons should march in front of the ark of the covenant with the Lord." So Joshua finished speaking to the people. Then the 7 priests began marching before the Lord. They carried the 7 trumpets and blew them as they marched. The priests carrying the ark of the covenant with the Lord followed them. The soldiers with weapons marched in front of the priests, and the armed men walked behind the ark, of the covenant. They were blowing their trumpets. But Joshua had told the people not to give a war cry. He said, "Don't shout, don't say a word until the day I tell you. Then shout." So Joshua had the ark of the covenant of the Lord carried around the city one time. Then they went back to camp for the night. Early the next morning, Joshua got up, and the priests carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord again. The 7 priests carried the 7 trumpets. They marched in front of the ark of the covenant of the Lord, blowing their trumpets. The soldiers with weapons marched in front of them. Other soldiers walked behind the ark of the covenant of the Lord. All this time, the priests were blowing their trumpets. So on the second day, they marched around the city one time. Then they went back to camp. They did this every day for 6 days. On the 7th day, they got up at dawn. They marched around the city 7 times. They marched just as they had on the days before. But on that day, they marched around the city 7 times. The 7th time around, the priests blew their trumpets. Then Joshua gave the command, "Now shout, the Lord has given you this city. The city and everything in it are to be destroyed as an offering to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and everyone in her house should remain alive. They must not be killed. This is because Rahab hid the 2 spies we sent out. Don't take any of the things that are to be destroyed as an offering to the Lord. If you take them and bring them into your camp, then you yourselves will be destroyed. You will also bring trouble to all of Israel. All the silver and gold and things made from bronze and iron belong to the Lord. They must be saved for him." When the priests blew the trumpets, the people shouted. At the sound of the trumpets and the people shout, the walls fell, and everyone ran straight into the city. So the Israelites defeated that city. They completely destroyed every living thing in the city. They killed men and women, young and old. They killed cattle, sheep, and donkeys. Joshua spoke to the 2 men who had spied out the land. Joshua said, "Go into the prostitute's house, bring her out, and bring out all the people who are with her. Do this because of the promise you made to her." So the 2 men went into the house and brought out Rahab. They also brought out her father, mother, brothers, and all those with her. They put all of her family in a safe place outside the camp of Israel. Then Israel burned the whole city and everything in it. But they did not burn the things made from silver, gold, bronze, and iron. These were saved for the Lord. Joshua saved Rahab the prostitute, her family, and all who were with her. He let them live. This was because Rahab had helped the men he had sent to spy out Jericho. Rahab still lives among the Israelites today. Then Joshua made this important promise. He said, anyone who tries to rebuild this city of Jericho will be punished by a curse from the Lord. The man who lays the foundation of this city will lose his oldest son. The man who sets up the gates will lose his youngest son. So the Lord was with Joshua, and Joshua became famous through all the land. Joshua chapter 7. The sin of Achan. But the people of Israel did not obey the Lord. There was a man from the tribe of Judah named Achan. He was the son of Carmi and grandson of Zimri, and Zimri was the son of Zerah. Achan kept some of the things that were given to the Lord. So the Lord became very angry at the Israelites. Joshua sent some men from Jericho to Ai. Ai was near Beth Aven, east of Bethel. He told them, go to Ai and spy out the area. So the men went to spy on Ai. Later, they came back to Joshua. They said, there are only a few men in Ai to fight against us, so we will not need all our people to defeat them. Send 2,000 or 3,000 men to fight there. There is no need to send all of our people. So about 3,000 men went to Ai. But the people of Ai beat them badly. The people of Ai chased the Israelites. They chased them from the city gate all the way to where the stones were cut from the ground. They killed about 36 Israelites as they went down the hill. Then the Israelites saw this. They became very afraid. Then Joshua tore his clothes to show how upset he was. He bowed face down on the ground before the box of the Lord, and he stayed there until evening. The leaders of Israel did the same thing. They also threw dirt on their heads to show they were upset. Then Joshua said, Lord God, you brought our people across the Jordan River. Why did you bring us this far and then let the Amorites destroy us? We should have been happy to stay on the other side of the Jordan. Lord, there's nothing I can say now. Israel has been beaten by the enemy. The Canaanites and all the other people in this country will hear about this. They will surround and kill all of us. Then what will you do for your own great name? The Lord said to Joshua, stand up. Why are you down on your face? The Israelites have sinned. They have broken the agreement I commanded them to obey. They took some of the teachings I commanded them to destroy. They took some of the things I commanded them to destroy. They have stolen from me. They have lied. They have taken those things for themselves. That is why the Israelites cannot face their enemies. They turn away from the fight and run. I have commanded that they be destroyed. You must destroy everything I commanded you to destroy. I will not help you anymore unless you do this. Now go. Have the people make themselves holy for me. Tell them, set yourselves apart to the Lord for tomorrow. The Lord your God of Israel says, some of you are keeping things he commanded you to destroy. You will never defeat your enemies until you throw away those things. Tomorrow morning, you must all stand before the Lord. All the tribes will stand before him. Excuse me. The Lord will choose one tribe, and that tribe must stand alone before him. Then the Lord will choose one family group from that tribe, and that family group must stand alone before him. Then the Lord will choose one family from that family group, and it must stand alone before him. Then the Lord will look at that family man by man. The man who is keeping what should have been destroyed will himself be destroyed by fire, and everything he owns will be destroyed with him. He has broken the agreement with the Lord. He has done a disgraceful thing among the people of Israel. Early the next morning, Joshua led all of Israel before the Lord. All of the tribes stood before him, and the Lord chose the tribe of Judah. So all the family groups of Judah stood before the Lord. The Lord then chose the family group of Zerah, and all the families of Zerah stood before the Lord. Then the family of Zimri was chosen, and Joshua told all the men in that family to come before the Lord. The Lord chose Ashan, son of Carmi. Carmi was the son of Zimri, and Zimri was the son of Zerah. Then Joshua said to Ashan, "My son, you should tell the truth. Confess to the Lord, the God of Israel. Tell me what you did. Don't try to hide anything from me." Ashan answered, "It is true. I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I did. Among the things I saw was a beautiful coat from Babylonia, and I saw about 5 pounds of silver and more than 1¼ pounds of gold. I wanted these things very much for myself, so I took them. You will find them buried in the ground under my tent. The silver is under the coat." So Joshua sent some men to the tent. They ran to the tent and found the things hidden there. The silver was under the coat. The men brought them out of the tent. Then they took them to Joshua and all the Israelites. They spread them out on the ground before the Lord. Then Joshua and all the people led Ashan, son of Zerah, to the valley of trouble. They also took the silver, the coat, and the gold. They took Ashan's sons, daughters, cattle, donkeys, sheep, tent, and everything he owned. Joshua said, "I don't know why you caused so much trouble for us, but now the Lord will bring trouble to you." Then all the people threw stones at Ashan until he died. They also killed his family with stones. Then the people burned them. They piled rocks over Ashan's body, and those rocks are still there today. That is why it is called the Valley of Trouble. After this, the Lord was no longer angry. Joshua chapter 8, Ai is destroyed. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid. Don't give up. Lead all your fighting men to Ai. I will help you defeat the king of Ai. I am giving you his people, his city and his land. You will do to Ai and its king what you did to Jericho and its king. Only this time you may take all the wealth. You may keep it for yourselves. Now tell some of your soldiers to set up an ambush behind the city. So Joshua led his whole army toward Ai. Then he chose 30,000 of his best fighting men. He sent these men out at night. Joshua gave them these orders. Listen carefully. You must set up an ambush behind the city. Don't go far from it. Continue to watch and be ready. And I and the men who are with me will march toward the city. The men in the city will come out to fight us. Then we will turn and run away from them as we did before. They will chase us away from the city. They will think we are running away from them as we did before. When we run away, come out from your ambush and take the city. The Lord your God will give you power to win. After you take the city, burn it. See to it you have your orders. Then Joshua sent them to their place of ambush to wait. They went to a place between Bethel and Ai to the west of Ai. But Joshua stayed the night with his people. Early the next morning, Joshua gathered his men together. He and the older leaders of Israel led them to Ai. All of the soldiers who were with Joshua marched to Ai. They stopped in front of the city and made camp north of Ai. There was a valley between them and the city. Then Joshua chose about 5,000 men. He set them in ambush in the area west of the city between Bethel and Ai. So the people took their positions. The main camp was north of the city. The other men were hiding to the west. That night Joshua went down into the valley. Now the king of Ai saw the army of Israel. So he and his people got up early the next morning and hurried out to fight them. They went out to a place east of the city. The king did not know soldiers were waiting in ambush behind the city. Joshua and all the men of Israel let the army of Ai push them back. Then they ran east toward the desert. The men in Ai were called to chase Joshua and his men. So they left the city and went after them. All the men of Ai and Bethel chased the army of Israel. The city was left open. Not a man stayed to protect it. Then the Lord said to Joshua, hold your spear toward Ai. I will give you that city. So Joshua held his spear toward the city of Ai. The men of Israel who were in ambush saw this. They quickly came out of their hiding place and hurried toward the city. They entered the city and took control of it. Then they quickly set it on fire. When the men of Ai looked back, they saw smoke rising from their city. At the same time, the men of Israel stopped running. They turned against the men of Ai. The men of Ai could not escape in any direction. Joshua and all his men saw that the army had taken control of the city. They saw the smoke rising from it. So they stopped running and turned to fight the men of Ai. The men who were in ambush also came out of the city to help with the fight. The men of Ai were caught between the armies of Israel. The Israelites fought until not one of the men of Ai was left alive. Not one, none of the enemy escaped. But the king of Ai was left alive. And Joshua's men brought him to Joshua. A review of the fighting. Joshua chapter 8, verse 24. During the fighting, the army of Israel chased the men of Ai into the fields and desert. So the Israelites killed all of them in the fields and desert. Then they went back to Ai and killed everyone there. All the people of Ai died that day, 12,000 men and women. Joshua had held his spear toward Ai. It was a sign to his people to destroy the city. And Joshua held out his spear until all the people of Ai were destroyed. The people of Israel kept the animals for themselves. They also kept the other things the people of Ai had owned. This is what the Lord told them to do when he gave Joshua the commands. Then Joshua burned the city of Ai. It became an empty pile of ruins. And it is still like that today. Joshua hung the king of Ai on a tree. He left him hanging there until evening. At sunset, Joshua told his men to take the king's body down from the tree. He told them to throw it down at the city gate. Then they covered it with rocks. That pile of rocks is still there today. Then Joshua built an altar for the Lord, the God of Israel. He built it on Mount Ebal as Moses, the Lord's servant, had commanded. Joshua built the altar as it was explained in the book of the teachings of Moses. The altar was made from stones that were not cut. No tool was ever used on them. The Israelites offered burnt offerings to the Lord on that altar. They also offered fellowship offerings. There Joshua wrote the teachings of Moses on stones. He did this for all the people of Israel to see. The elders, officers, judges, and all the Israelites were there. They were standing around the Ark of the Covenant with the Lord. They stood before the priests, the Levites who had carried the Ark of the Covenant. Israelites and non-Israelites were all standing there. Half of the people stood in front of Mount Ebal. The other half stood in front of Mount Gerizim. This was the way the Lord's servant Moses had earlier commanded the people to be blessed. Then Joshua read all the words of the teachings. He read the blessings and the curses. He read it exactly as they were written in the book of the teachings. All the Israelites were gathered together. All the women and children were there. All the non-Israelites living with the Israelites were there. Joshua read every command that Moses had given. Joshua chapter 9, the Gibeonite trickery. All the kings west of the Jordan River heard about these things. These were the kings of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. They lived in the mountains and on the western mountain slopes. They also lived along the whole Mediterranean seacoast. All these kings gathered to fight Joshua and the Israelites. The people of Gibeon heard how Joshua had defeated Jericho and Ai. So they decided to trick the Israelites. They gathered old leather wine bags that were cracked and mended. They put them on the backs of their donkeys. They also put old sacks on their donkeys. The men put old sandals on their feet and wore old clothes. They took some dry, moldy bread. Then they went to Joshua in the camp near Gilgal. The men spoke to Joshua and the men of Israel. They said, "We have traveled from a faraway country. Make a peace agreement with us." The men of Israel said to these Hivites, "Maybe you live near us. How can we make a peace agreement with you?" The Hivites said to Joshua, "We are your servants." But Joshua asked, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" The men answered, "We are your servants. We have come from a far country. We came because we heard of the fame of the Lord your God. We heard about what he has done. We heard about everything he did in Egypt. We heard that he defeated the two kings of the Amorites. They were from the east side of the Jordan River: Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, who was king in Ashtaroth. So our elders and our people spoke to us. They said, "Take food for your journey. Go and meet the Israelites. Tell them we are your servants. Make a peace agreement with us. Look at our bread. When we left home, it was warm and fresh, but now it is dry and moldy. Look at our leather wine bags. When we left home, they were new and filled with wine. Now they are cracked and old. Look at our clothes and our sandals. Look at our clothes and sandals. The long journey has almost destroyed them." The men of Israel tasted the bread, but they did not ask the Lord what to do. So Joshua agreed to make peace with the Gibeonites. He agreed to let them live. The leaders of the Israelites made a promise to keep the agreement. 3 days later, the Israelites learned that the Gibeonites lived nearby. So the Israelites went to where they lived. On the third day, the Israelites came to their cities. The cities were Gibeon, Kephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites did not attack those cities. They had made a promise to them before the Lord, the God of Israel. All the Israelites grumbled against the leaders who had made the agreement. But the leaders answered, "We have given our promise before the Lord, the God of Israel. We cannot attack them now. This is what we must do. We must let them live. We cannot hurt them, or God's anger will be against us. We would be breaking the promise we made to them. So let them live, but they will cut wood and carry water for our people." So the leaders kept their promise of peace to them. Joshua called for the Gibeonites. He said, "Why did you lie to us? Your land was near our camp, but you told us your land, but you told us you were from a far country. Now you will be placed under a curse. You will be our slaves. You will have to cut wood and carry water for the people of the house of God." The Gibeonites answered Joshua, "We lied to you because we were afraid you would kill us. We heard that God commanded his servant Moses to give you all of this land. And God told you to kill all the people who live in the land. That is why we did this. Now you can decide what to do with us. You can do anything to us that you think is right. So Joshua saved their lives. He did not allow the Israelites to kill them. But Joshua made the Gibeonites slaves to the Israelites. They cut wood and carried water for the Israelites. And they did it for the altar of the Lord, wherever he chose it to be. They are still doing it this day. Joshua chapter 10, the sun stands still. At this time, Adoni-Zedek was the king of Jerusalem. He heard that Joshua had defeated Ai and completely destroyed it. He learned that Joshua had done the same thing to Jericho and its king. The king also learned that the Gibeonites had made a peace agreement with Israel, and they lived very near Jerusalem. So Adoni-Zedek and his people were very afraid because of this. Gibeon was not a little town like Ai. It was a large city. It was as big as a city that had a king. All its men were good fighters. So Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent a message to Hoham, king of Hebron. He also sent it to Piram, king of Jarmuth, Shaphiah, king of Lachish, and Debir, king of Eglon. The king of Jerusalem begged these men, "Come with me and help me attack Gibeon." Gibeon has made a peace agreement with Joshua and the Israelites. Then these 5 Amorite kings joined their armies. They were the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. These armies went to Gibeon, surrounded it, and attacked it. The Gibeonites sent a message to Joshua in his camp at Gilgal. The message said, "We are your servants. Don't let us be destroyed. Come quickly. Help us. Save us. All the Amorite kings from the mountains have joined their armies. They are fighting against us." So Joshua marched out of Gilgal with his whole army. His best fighting men were with him. The Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid of those armies. I will allow you to defeat them. None of them will be able to defeat you." Joshua and his army marched all night to Gibeon. So Joshua surprised them when he attacked. The Lord confused those armies when Israel attacked. So Israel defeated them in a great victory. They chased them from Gibeon on the road going to Beth Horon. The army of Israel killed men all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. They chased the enemy down the road from Beth Horon to Azekah. While they were chasing them, the Lord threw large hailstones on them from the sky. Many of the enemy were killed by the hailstones. More men were killed by the hailstones than the Israelites killed with their swords. That day, the Lord allowed the Israelites to defeat the Amorites. And that day Joshua stood before all the people of Israel and said to the Lord, Sun, stand still over Gibeon. Moon, stand still over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped until the people defeated their enemies. These words are written in the book of Jashar. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky. It waited to go down for a full day. That has never happened at any time before that day nor since. That was the day the Lord listened to a man. Truly, the Lord was fighting for Israel. After this, Joshua and his army went back to the camp at Gilgal. During the fight, the 5 kings ran away. They hid in a cave near Makkedah. But someone found them hiding in the cave and told Joshua. So he said, cover the opening to the cave with large rocks. Put some men there to guard it. But don't stay there yourselves. Continue chasing the enemy. Continue attacking them from behind. Don't let them get to their cities safely. The Lord your God has given you the victory over them. So Joshua and the Israelites killed the enemy, but a few were able to get back to their strong walled cities. After the fighting, Joshua's men came back safely to him at Makkedah. No one was brave enough to say a word against the Israelites. Joshua said, move the rocks that are covering the opening to the cave. Bring those 5 kings out to me. So Joshua's men brought the 5 kings out of the cave. They were the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. They brought the 5 kings out to Joshua. He called all his men to come to that place. He said to the commanders of his army, come here, put your feet on the necks of these kings. So they came close and put their feet on their necks. Then Joshua said to his men, be strong and brave. Don't be afraid. I will show you what the Lord will do to the enemies you will fight in the future. Then Joshua killed the 5 kings. He hung their bodies on 5 trees, and he left them hanging on the trees until evening. At sunset, Joshua told his men to take the bodies down from the trees. Then they threw their bodies into the same cave where they had been hiding. They covered the opening to the cave with large rocks. They are still there today. That day Joshua defeated Makkedah. He killed the king and completely destroyed all the people in that city. He killed them as an offering to the Lord. There was no one left alive. He did the same thing to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Defeating southern cities. Joshua chapter 10, verse 29. Then Joshua and all the Israelites traveled from Makkedah. They went to Libnah and attacked it. The Lord allowed them to defeat it and its king. They killed every person in the city. No one was left alive. And they did the same thing to that king as they had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all the Israelites left Libnah and went to Lachish. They camped around Lachish and attacked it. The Lord allowed them to defeat Lachish. On the second day, Joshua defeated it. The Israelites killed everyone in that city. This was the same thing they had done to Libnah. During this same time, Horam, king of Gezer, came to help Lachish. But Joshua also defeated him and his army. There was no one left alive. Then Joshua and all the Israelites went from Lachish to Eglon. They camped around Eglon and attacked it. That day they captured Eglon. They killed all its people and completely destroyed everything in it as an offering to the Lord. This is the same thing they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and the Israelites went from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it. They captured it and all the little towns near it. The Israelites killed everyone in Hebron. No one was left alive there. This was the same thing they had done to Eglon. They completely destroyed the city and all its people as an offering to the Lord. Then Joshua and the Israelites went back to Debir and attacked it. They captured that city, its king, and all the little towns near it. They completely destroyed everyone in Debir as an offering to the Lord. No one was left alive there. Israel did to Debir and its king the same thing they had done to Libnah and its king. This was what they had done to Hebron. So Joshua defeated all the kings of the cities of these areas, the mountains, southern Canaan, the western mountain slopes, and the eastern mountain slopes. The Lord, the God of Israel, had told Joshua to completely destroy all the people as an offering to the Lord. So he left no one alive in those places. Joshua captured all the cities from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and he captured all the cities from Goshen to Gibeon. He captured all these cities and their kings on one trip. He did it because the Lord, the God of Israel, was fighting for Israel. Then Joshua and all the Israelites returned to their camp at Gilgal. All done for now. I'll be back later, probably after 3, probably after 5. And I will finish reading the book of Joshua today. The book of Joshua will be read today. See you guys later. I said, see you guys later.